Hey, welcome back. So this tutorial is going to be our game over screen, and it's going to handle when you complete all the levels and give the player an option to see what their total score for their pickups collected, and also have the option to restart the game or quit the game. In our previous tutorials, we did the start menu and also a pause menu. So you can go back and check those out if this is the first time joining us. You can also take a look at other content for this game on Putting on the Fritz 3D visualization. And again, if you like what you see, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and keep up with what we're doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at what we're talking about. So this is my screen right here. Basically, I just use the same background that I used for the start menu, and it's got game over in the middle. And here's where we've put in the coins collected, and then a restart button and a quit button. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and go through the process of getting all of this set up. Again, here's the quick graph. We're going to re-zero out the coins collected to the total amount here. So we're going to cast this to our BP game instance for that, and then we'll reopen level if you decide to restart the game. And this should actually be restart. Good enough for now. All right, so let me go ahead and move this out of the way and take a look at where we're at with our current game. Okay, so here's the main menu. Right now, of course, we did the pause menu. We also did the main menu. So let's go back here into our content drawer, back into our UI, and I'm going to right click in here, and I'm going to create a new folder. And this is going to be start menu, or I'm sorry, game over. Okay, double click on that. I'm going to right click again in here, go to user interface, pick the one at the bottom, the widget blueprint, and I'm going to just select a new user widget. And I'm going to call this W for widget underscore game over. Okay. We're going to go ahead and double click and open it. Like we did in the past, the first thing we need to do is we need to get a canvas in here. So I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to type in can for canvas. I'm going to click and drag and just drop that onto my, for the widget game over title down here and make this a child of that. Compile and save it. I'm going to close out this thing again or can again, so I can bring up all of my selections. Here's the common one at the top that we use usually for buttons and things like that. Again, if this is the first time joining me, you could jump back in and watch those videos. I'm not going to go into the process of making the actual buttons again too much, because I'm just going to copy and paste them so they stay consistent. But I am going to go ahead and pull in the image again, and actually I think I can just go ahead and go to my main menu into my main menu widget, and I'm going to go ahead and select control select and select my background image as well, and I'm going to select the rollerball text as well, and that should be everything. I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into my game over, and then I'm going to control V as in Victor. Paste it. Oh, actually got to click in there first. Control V. And everything's going to come off to the side just a little bit. But with it still selected, I'm going to go ahead and drag it up into here. Try to line that up. Okay. And now we can see that some things came in kind of out of order. And that's okay, because this gives us an opportunity, because we really haven't had this issue. We've been building things on top of each other, so it automatically rendered in the way we wanted it to. But we have a Z order choice, and we're going to talk about that real quick. So the start button and the quit button should be both the same order. We'll see if we need to do that for the actual text. But the buttons themselves, I'm going to select the two buttons. And then over here where it says Z order, right now they're set at 0. Everything's set at 0. If I put that up to 1, that should bring them up so that they're at the top level. Okay, and that's one way you can fix your canvases if you're having some issues with things not showing up where you want them to. You can take a look at your Z order and adjust them here. All right, so we've got our rollerball in here. I'm going to change that from rollerball. We're going to call this game over at the top so we know what this is. For game over text, I guess I could have called it text. And then down here where it says rollerball, this is where we're actually going to change it to game over. Something like that. And we may need to recenter it because it's not quite as long as the other one. And I'm going to just kind of move it over again. My alignment line is this darker black line right here. I'm going to just kind of move this over until it's about lined up and then double check it by hovering over the little center. Again, this is where we went ahead and did our anchors. And I don't think, yeah, the anchors are still the same for these. These are the anchors we set before. I have everything in this image set so that it's set in the center. Okay. So now we've got our basic setup. Sorry for the boring background image. Hopefully you have something more exciting to put on yours. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some functionality built into this, all right? So we are going to do the start function here, okay? So what we could do is I'm going to select it. I'm going to go down here again, and on clicked, I'm going to hit the plus button. And it's going to give me my start choice here. Now I'm going to go back to my main menu widget where we originally used that. And we're just going to save some time, okay? This one right here we're not going to use because it's set up for that particular button. But I am going to go ahead and highlight the other ones. I'm going to hit Control-C and copy all of these other inputs because we're going to do the exact same thing because we're going to open level 1 if we choose to start or restart the game, right? So, and right now it's still called Start Button. I'm going to need to fix that. But first, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to Control-V. I'm going to paste all that in there. I'm going to grab it and move it over. I'll plug that in there. Compile it. Highlight it all again, hit C to comment it, and this is my restart. Restart game. That's what we'll call it, restart game. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and change these names here real quick. So I'm going to go back into the designer tab over here. With my start button selected, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to name this restart. Okay, so there's restart there, and then the actual name of the text should be, it's probably buried down here. Would I lose it? I lost it. Oh, that's because it's the text box. Select the text box. It would work so much better. Okay, so now we're going to just type in restart here. And it's going to change that. And again, you see that my text is kind of outside the box. I'm going to leave the font at 48, but I'm going to drop this down to like 250 for the spacing and maybe 230. That didn't really make much of a difference. All right, one more try, and then we'll move on. There we go. All right, so we got 150 for that, and then we have our quit over here, and that's going to stay the same. We still need to add the functionality to the quit, but that one is nice and simple and easy. So let's go ahead and take care of the quit real quick. So I'm going to highlight the button, go down, on clicked, pull out from here, quit game is what we want. Highlight it, C for the comment, and this is going to be quit game. All right, so the initial functionality is set up. What we need to do is we actually need to modify our restart just a little bit, okay? Because we've been keeping track of our coins, and if we were to restart, because we have a game instance, it's going to remember the total number of coins that you have collected. And if you restart, it's going to start from that level, okay, of coins. So say you picked up 100 coins, it'll start at 100. So before we get to level 1 and open level 1, So I'm going to hold down the Alt button and left click there and disconnect level 1 and drag it to the side over here. Now, we've already made our game instance. Okay, that was in a previous video. I'm going to right click from here and I'm going to cast to BP game underscore GA. Oh, it was my game instance, wasn't it? There it is right there, BP my game instance. Okay, and again, we have to actually tell it what object we want to cast to, what this is. So we're going to get game instance. Okay, we're letting it go and find the game instance. And then from here on the blue pin, we're going to pull out and we're going to set, and I think this was called coins collected on mine. So whatever your variable is on your game instance, that's what you're going to want. And I don't have it open, but we can open it real quick so I can show you where to look if you can't remember. Okay, or if you haven't done it yet, then it's something you're going to have to do. Okay, it's in my game mode and then my game instance, right? Right here, coins collected. Okay, that's what I named mine. So whatever your variable is that you named yours, that's where you're going to need to get it. Okay. I'll pull this up. Set that there. I'm going to just leave this 0 right here because this is what we want it to be, 0. We could create a variable that you can control, but since we're starting the game over, make it nice and simple, just leave that 0. Then we're going to go ahead and connect this back up for level 1. So now we should have that all done. But the Game Over widget is done, but there's nothing to tell the game that you've actually won the game, and or that you won the game, and that you should have the Game Over menu pop up. So now that's the next piece we need to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our content drawer, and if you remember back in our blueprints, we have a trigger, right? When we go through, we have this win volume, right? It goes through and it checks to see when you go through the portal at the end of the game, at the end of each level, it checks to see, is this the last level? If it is, then we're going to end the game. If it isn't, then we're going to bring up and open up the next level, which is this right up in here. Okay. Right here we have level completed, right? So if we double click on level completed and we go in here, we have this branch right here that says, does the check, is this final level? So we already have the logic set up for that. If it's false, it opens up the next level, right? If it's true, right now it just quits the game. But what we're going to do is we're going to select quit game and we're going to hit delete. We're going to get rid of that because we're not going to quit the game at this point. What we're going to do now is we're going to create a new function, okay? And we're going to go over here and we're going to hit plus next to functions, right? Hit that little function right there. And we're going to call this Game Over. Okay, so this function is going to go ahead and is going to open up a widget for us. So we're going to create widget. Okay, and that widget is going to be our Game Over widget that we just got done creating. Then we're going to add this widget to our viewport. Okay, we're going to add that to our viewport, and remember, we need to take this little blue and put it in here because that's what we're adding to this widget right here that we just pulled up. And because it is a widget that we want the player to be able to interact with, we need to give the player cursor control back. So right up here, we're going to right click and we're going to get player controller, okay, because we need to get the controller for the player. In this case, it's our mouse. Okay, we're going to pull out from here. Okay, and we're going to set show, and we want the set show mouse cursor. And the reason why I stuck that up here is because we're also going to start pulling out from this return value here, and we're going to go down this direction. So it seemed like it was a little cleaner by doing it this way. Now, inside the set, we're going to go ahead and turn on the cursor, so it's going to show the mouse cursor. And again, we're going to set input mode, And we want both the game and the UI. Okay, we're going to set the input mode for the game in this case as well. And that's why we need this up here. We're going to take the player controller, we're going to plug it in here. I'm going to hit double click on the line, kind of pull that up a little bit, clean that up. And then we're also going to give it the widget to focus on, which is going to be this widget here. I'm going to put a couple of these down here and kind of clean this up a little bit. Keep our spaghetti nice and neat. All right, and then we also want it to make it so that the game's not doing anything else. There's no more counting, no more time being counted. Not that we're going to have that on our scene. Oh, you know what? We got to go back and we got to add that in. So let's do that here in a second. All right, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to set game paused, okay? And it's going to be paused. We're going to put a little check mark in there and pause it. Because the game's over, we no longer want to move forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and highlight this. I'm going to hit C. Of course, this is the only function in here. You don't always necessarily have to do that if this is clear what this function's for. But if we add more functions into this section, you may need to do something like this, like comment it. But we're just going to go ahead and just call this game over. Okay, let's compile. Save all this, go back into my event graph, right here where level completed is, select that, and right here, when it's true, it's not doing anything. So what we need to do now is we need to drag this function, and we need to put it in here, connect that up, compile it, save it, and let's jump back over to our widget for the game over, because there's one thing we forgot to do, or I forgot to tell you to do it, and that's the designer here. I'm going to take this game over. I'm going to move it down a little bit. Maybe something like that. Try to take advantage of the scene in itself. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to also be able to show what our score is by the number of collectibles that we collected. And we have that information in our game instance, but we got to be able to put that in here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do a little cheat real quick, okay? And I'm going to go into my content drawer down here. I'm going to go into my UI, and I'm going to find my player HUD. I'm going to double click on my player HUD. I'm going to open that up, okay? And then what I want to do is go into my graph. I'm going to find that function, so the count collectibles function. So I'm going to click on it over here on the left-hand side, count collectibles. I'm going to Control C. Okay, whoops, that was the wrong thing. Control C, not Control D. Control C for copy, okay? And so inside my Game Over HUD, into the graph, and I'm going to click on the functions right there, and I'm going to Control V and paste that in there. So now we have this in here, and since there aren't any variables that are specific to this particular blueprint, we can compile it and we won't get any errors, okay? But now we have our count collectibles function in here. The other thing I want to do is, let me go ahead and save everything real quick. I'm going to go back to my player HUD, and I'm going to go to my designer, and right here where I have this coins collected, I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that. I'm going to hit Control C to copy it, and I'm going to go back into my Game Over, go back to my designer, and I'm going to Control V to paste it. After I click on it, Control V, got to click in there, there we go. And it's all the way up there, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it, drag it down here. And I probably want the color to match what I have here for the purple, so I'm going to select that color. With the eyedrop, maybe make it select that. Make the font a little bigger. Why don't we select the right thing, make the font a little bigger. Something like that. And instead of up here in the top, maybe down here, kind of in the center, so we can see what our score is. Instead of being anchored up here in the right, I'm going to change the anchor to be down here in the center. Okay. And all right, so now I think we've got just about everything set up the way we want it. So what we need to do is with this text, just like before, we need to bind that function to it. So I'm going to, right here where it says content, text, coins collected, hit the down arrow, and there's our count collectibles. I'm going to go ahead and bind that to that. I'm going to compile it, make sure I don't have any errors, save it. And now if I go back to my main menu and hit play, hit start, select the coins, go into the volume, go here, into the volume, here into the volume, and there we go. Down here at the bottom, coins collected is 3. I have my restart option and I have my quit option. So if I hit restart, my coins at the top should reset to 0, and everything should work like normal. Let's go ahead and test the quit to make sure that quit works. Okay, hit quit, and there we go. Game's over. Okay, so that is it for this tutorial. We've got all 3 menus up and running. The last thing we need to do is probably add some music to the game so that there's something happening that's entertaining or maybe drives the player mood while they're playing the game. So obviously music can do quite a bit for the way the game is played. The feel of the game can give you a certain level of intensity. It can make you feel relaxed. It can make you feel hurried or frustrated, whatever it is you're trying to go for the player. So that's something that we'll take a look at in the next video, and then we'll have one more video after that where we actually build out the game and wrap this up. So if you have any questions, again, put them down here in the comment section, and I'll check them out, try to get back to you as soon as I can. And if you are interested in any of the other things that have happened in this tutorial, and this is the first time you've jumped into the Rollerball game tutorials, go back, take a look. I also have other content on my YouTube channel, Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization. Like the video if you liked what you saw, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.